Hi, I'm about to film a video, but I'm setting you guys up. This is a bit of a different location than where I usually shoot, which is in my room, but we're gonna try this one out today. Here we are. We're going to do the book tag of 2023, halfway through the year tag. I don't know what it's called, but basically, I don't know what I did, 1 second. Let's just jump right into it. The first question is best book of 2023. I sadly do not own this book because I read it from the library, but I might just buy it because I can see myself rereading it and or letting other people borrow it. So that book is Pack Up the Moon by Kristen Higgins. This book is incredibly emotional. It's heartbreaking and heartwarming at the same time. It deals with grief, love, and just life in general. It's super deep. It has kind of like dual timeline, which is one of my favorite things in books to have. I feel like every book I read that has a dual timeline I end up loving, so it has that going for it. But it's just a very special book that will definitely probably make you cry. Yeah, just check some trigger warnings before you read it maybe, but it's really good and probably my favorite book so far. Okay, best sequel that I've read so far is probably this one right here. Well, technically this is a trilogy, but I've only read 2 books. So for me, it's a sequel. This one by Abby Jimenez. This is the first book in the trilogy. It's The Friend Zone by Abby Jimenez. Please don't mind my atrocious tabbing. I have to go back and like fix that. But this was the first book in the trilogy. This is the second book in the trilogy, the Happy Ever After playlist, and then the third one is Life's Too Short. So I've only read these 2 so far and I absolutely love them. I can't wait to read this one, but I just haven't had, well, I'm not gonna say I haven't had the time. I just haven't prioritized reading this one because I've been reading other books, but I can't wait to read this one. These 2 are so good. If you haven't heard of Abby Jimenez, I'm sure you have, but if you haven't, she's a really good author. These are my first 2 books by Abby Jimenez and they're great. So I definitely recommend checking this out. So yeah, I'm gonna consider these a sequel, even though it's technically a trilogy. Okay, so this is going to be probably not a surprise, but I don't own it yet. But the book that I'm most excited to read that has been released and it's new, I just haven't read it, is The Fourth Wing. So The Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros is incredibly popular. I feel incredible FOMO because everyone is giving this book literally 5 stars and it's like, are you sure? But so many people have given this book 5 stars that I have to read it, and I feel like I'm gonna give it 5 stars even though I low-key know nothing about it. I just know it's a fantasy, which I haven't read many fantasies at all. My only dabble in the fantasy realm is the Game of Thrones books. So that's kind of what I know about fantasy. So I'm really excited to read this. I don't own it yet. I freaking missed out and I didn't buy the book sooner, and now I refuse to buy it unless I have the sprayed edges, but it's like mid to late June, and I don't think that's even a thing anymore, so I guess we'll see. This is going to be a thriller that I read probably a month or 2 ago, but it is Jar of Hearts by Jennifer Hillier. This book was crazy. I think I just went into it knowing that it was a thriller, but it's a lot more than that. It is very gruesome, raw. There's just so many ways to describe this book, but it really surprised me because 1, I was not expecting all of that, and 2, it just was like the plot twists were pretty crazy, pretty out there, but it like kind of made sense. I don't know. It was just a wild ride. I did enjoy the book, but absolutely check trigger warnings because this book is not for everyone, I promise you. It's just that crazy and it's very gruesome and like detailed, so maybe look into that. But this book was wild and I rated it like 4.5 stars because I did really enjoy it and it took me by surprise, and I would recommend it, but not to everybody. So please, if you like crazy, gruesome, wild thrillers, then maybe this is for you, but definitely check into the trigger warnings because it's crazy. This one might not be too much of a surprise, but I'm gonna have to go with Abby Jimenez. I have read these 2 books. I didn't want to say too much about Abby Jimenez back when I was talking about the sequels because I knew I would bring her up again for favorite author. This book, I ate it up so quickly. This was my first Abby Jimenez read. I finished it in about 2 days, but I literally could not put it down. I was obsessed. And already by reading 2 of her books, I can already see her, kind of get a sense of her writing style, and I really enjoy it. The love story, the romance, I really enjoy as well. It like is a happy-go-lucky problems, but you need to read her books. I don't want to spoil anything, but they're very good. Like I mentioned, I'm waiting to read this one, and then I do have Part of Your World and Yours Truly, which are her 2 newer books that are super popular. Let me go get them. Okay, like I was saying, I cannot wait to read these 2. I don't want to like jump into them until I've finished the little trilogy sequel thing, so these are gonna have to wait a little bit, but I cannot wait. This one is super hyped up this year, and this one was super popular last year. So I just know they're gonna be good, and I can't wait to read them. This one I actually won from a giveaway on Goodreads, which is my first ever like giveaway win. So that was really awesome. I would have bought it anyway, but I got it for free. Jace from Swear on This Life. Basically, a quick synopsis is he's an author, a best-selling author, so rich and writes books. And he was in the book Say You Swear, he's like the childhood romance person. If you read that book, you'll see why he's a favorite, but it gives you everything you would want in like an imaginary book-loving boyfriend. So I definitely will say that he's my fictional crush. I wish I could say more, but I don't want to spoil anything. Probably Pack Up the Moon by Kristen Higgins, which I said is my favorite book of 2023. Like I mentioned, it's incredibly heartwarming, heartbreaking. It deals with grief, so just so you know, it is very raw. You'll get a lot of feelings reading that book, so that was a book that I definitely teared up at. And then the other book would be The Escape Artist. This book was very hard to read. It's about, of course, World War II, and it's about the Holocaust and concentration camps, and it's very graphic, very informative, but of course it's graphic and it's really tough to read. I just remember having to put the book down a few times because it was just a lot to take in. But of course it's important knowledge for anybody to have, so I read it all and I really enjoyed the book. It was a great book, but it was sad. Definitely shed a few tears reading that, especially because it's a true story. So, book that made me happy, definitely Stone Cold Fox. Wow, by Rachel Crowler-Croft. Her first novel, it's a debut novel by this author, and it was so good. I just finished it like 2 days ago and I already returned it to the library, so I don't have it with me, but wow, this book was so good. I posted a full review on my bookstagram account, but basically what I said was that it's super funny, super entertaining. It's very colloquial. Like the language that the author uses is so funny. It like makes the author, the narrator, very endearing, and like I just love the language that was used in the book. I didn't want to put this book down and I didn't want to finish it. I like kind of stalled it out a little bit because it was just that entertaining. I almost gave it a 5-star, but it just didn't have that like final gut punch that I look for in 5-star reviews or in 5-star books, so I didn't give it 5 stars, but I gave it 4.5, and it just made me happy during the read. Like I just was very entertained. I was laughing. I was like, what? This is crazy. It was a great book and I definitely recommend it. It's very good. So this one, I don't really have one because I was looking through my books and I'm like, they're all just kind of paperback, hardback, like nothing too special. Like some of the covers are of course beautiful, but it's like nothing crazy. So I pulled out this book that I bought, I think last year. It's The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. So it is a classic, and just look how beautiful it is. Like the gold, yeah, it's beautiful. I bought it at a bookstore in LA. I think it was the last, not me finding my boyfriend's stash of different currency. Oh my gosh, this could literally be like stolen. What the heck? These are some of the places that we've been to. So just to show off, Mexico, Euro, so like Europe, the British pound, because we were in England, and Japanese yen. So that's really cool. I'll just throw this back in there and pretend I never saw it, but yeah, this book is beautiful, and now it's even more beautiful because it contains money. Last question. So some books that I want to read by the end of the year, of course, are these ones that I haven't yet read that I said I would read in 2023. So I have a few of those that are on the list. Is this one, George R. R. Martin, Fire and Blood. If you've seen House of the Dragon on HBO, this is the book that is based on that show. Yeah, basically it tells you what I'm trying to say right here. So I want to read this. I stopped reading A Song of Fire and Ice because I want to read this one, and then I'm gonna hop back into that. So again, I haven't started this. This is as much fantasy as I've read, but I loved the show, and I just know I want to read it so I can get spoilers through the book and then watch the future seasons. So I haven't started it, but I'm meaning to start this. It's Terms and Conditions by Lauren Asher. I finally read the fine print, so I finally started the trilogy of Dreamland Billionaires. I have the entire series. Here I have the final offer. So I have all of them, but Terms and Conditions is on my 2023 I have to read list, so definitely gonna dip into this soon. I gave the fine print, I think, 4 stars. It was a great romance, solid. Honestly, nothing too crazy or special about it, but I was entertained, and it had some spice, it had romance, but I just think, I forgot his name, the guy, Rowan. I think he was a little too much of a dick for my personal taste, so maybe that's why I didn't give it more stars, but it was really, it was all right. It was 4 stars. I recommend it, but this is the one that has been super hyped. So hopefully this one is even better than the first one, and I can't wait. It's about Declan. So it's brief synopsis. Dreamland Billionaires. It's kind of like a Disneyland. 3 brothers. This one is the middle child. So this is the first book in the trilogy. Terms and Conditions is the oldest brother. So I'm excited for that. And then the third book is the youngest brothers. And then another book on that list is Meet Me by the Lake, or Meet Me at the Lake by Carly Fortune, author of Every Summer After, which I think I gave 5 stars last year. It was so good. So I'm reading this one. I haven't heard the greatest reviews about it, unfortunately, so there's that. But I'm only about 56 pages in, so nothing too crazy yet. Can't really base an opinion off of that, so I won't say anything, but I'm trying not to let the subpar reviews get to me because I want to give this a fair shot, and I did really enjoy Every Summer After, so maybe I'll like it. But I am currently reading this one, so I'll probably be done with it by the end of the month. Oh, and then a quick shout out to these 2 books. These are library books, but I definitely want to read these 2. This is Finley Donovan Jumps the Gun. This is the 3rd book in the Finley Donovan trilogy, which is an amazing trilogy. It's a very cozy, mystery, thrilling kind of trilogy, but it's cozy, so it's like a mother with her kids. It's funny. I really like it, so I can't wait to read this one. I've had it on my TBR for a while. And then last but not least, Emma Straub, This Time Tomorrow. I honestly don't really know what it's about. I started reading this about a month or 2 ago. I only got like 15 pages in, and it was on my iPad, I think, so it was through e-reader, but then I think I had to return it to the library because it was on a loan, and I didn't finish it. It didn't make much of an impact, but again, I was super like literally less than 50 pages in, so I'm gonna give it another go. And I love the cover. Like, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful book, and it's not super long, 307 pages at most, so this I definitely want to read soon. That's it. That's all you're getting from me today. I hope you enjoyed this tag, and if you did, maybe you should do it. That's it from me today, so I'll see you guys soon. Bye.